The USS Cleveland is America's brand new 5.7 light cruiser in Update 1.99 Starfighters. Coming before the Brooklyn and the Tech Tree, it's a side grade that trades primary firepower for survivability and anti-air weaponry. For a bit of history, the Cleveland class was designed as a successor to the Brooklyn class and is the most numerous light cruiser class ever built, with 27 being completed. The USS Cleveland was laid down in 1940 and commissioned in 1942. It served throughout all of World War II, primarily in the Pacific Ocean, earning 13 battle stars. The USS Cleveland was decommissioned in 1947 and remained in reserve until 1960 when it was sold for scrap. The primary armament of the Cleveland is 12 6-inch 47 caliber cannons split into 4 turrets, 2 at the front of the ship and 2 at the back. The Cleveland's main cannons have an incredibly high rate of fire at 10 RPM, or a reload of 6 seconds, along with pretty tight dispersion. For shells, the Cleveland has the Mark 34 high explosive shell, Mark 35 APCBC shell, Mark 34 high explosive base fuse shell, and Mark 34 high explosive variable time fuse shell. The standard HE shell is alright, having 5.88 kilograms of TNT, but also lacks armor penetration and deals very little internal damage. The APCBC ammo has very little filler, but significantly more armor penetration, making it useful for sniping ammunition racks or dealing internal damage. The HE base fuse shell is a direct upgrade to the HE shell, with the same explosive filler, slightly more penetration, and a longer fuse delay. Last comes the HEVT shell, which also has the same explosive filler as the HE shell, but airbursts against planes. I'd recommend taking mostly HE base fuse ammo as it penetrates past the surface layers of armor and deals a lot more internal damage without sacrificing any explosive filler. Then, bring some armor-piercing shells to take out larger, heavily armored ships where the HE is less effective. Lastly, a few HEVT shells can be quite useful against planes, so I'd recommend taking a few salvos worth of it. I wouldn't worry about planes too much, however. The Cleveland is well equipped to handle them and comes with one of the best anti-air loadouts in all of War Thunder. With 6 dual-cannon 5-inch 38 caliber dual-purpose turrets, 4 dual 40mm Bofors turrets, and 13 single 20mm Oerlikon turrets, the Cleveland can handle planes at any distance or angle. The 5-inch 38 caliber cannons are incredibly effective against both planes and ships, with a high fire rate of 22 rounds per minute and a variety of shell types. It gets Mark 34 HE, Mark 46 SP Common, and Mark 31 HEVT. Unlike the standard US 5-inch cannon, it doesn't get the common shell, only the SP Common shell. The AI in control of these cannons doesn't properly swap between ammo types, so I would only bring HEVT and leave them firing at aircraft as to not waste thousands of SL per match. The 40mm Bofors cannons are effective against both planes and small ships and can make an effective mid-range deterrent to attacking aircraft. The 20mm Oerlikon cannons can destroy aircraft that get too close, and with 1.99's change to the range of anti-air cannons, they can actually shoot down planes before they drop ordnance for once. When it comes to survivability, the Cleveland is one of the tankiest vessels in the game. With an incredibly high crew count of 1,255 and an effective armor layout that makes high explosive ammo practically useless against it, the Cleveland can weather fire from most targets for quite a while before going down. The frontal ammo racks are also particularly hard to detonate due to being surrounded by fuel, though it still does get detonated sometimes. The biggest weakness is the first stage ammo racks of the 127mm cannons, as they're outside of the main armor and are very easy to detonate. Overall, the Cleveland is one of the most survivable ships in the game and particularly resistant to high explosive ammunition. Lastly comes mobility. With a top speed of 60 km per hour, the Cleveland has average mobility for a cruiser. It's about the same as the Brooklyn class and doesn't have any major differences. When it comes to playstyle, I find that the Cleveland works best as a brawler. Simply get in close and slam HE base fuse or armor-piercing shells into enemy ammunition racks while using your own high crew and armor to survive incoming fire. Planes and small vessels can easily be destroyed using the secondary weapons of the Cleveland, so most of your time can be spent focusing on enemy cruisers with the primary weapons. The Cleveland is one of the top dogs of naval at the moment. The most dangerous ship facing it would be the Brooklyn class, as it's similar in most ways but has an additional main turret. The Graf Spee is actually less dangerous in this patch due to the USN anti-frag buff, which I'll be covering in a video that's coming soon, so I wouldn't worry about it as much as you would before 1.99. As far as the Cleveland's placement in the US tree, it's quite interesting. Against the USS Brooklyn, the Cleveland is a side grade, being more survivable, but also having less primary firepower. I would say that the Cleveland works best as a second spawn, using the Brooklyn's superior main firepower at the start of a match and then using the Cleveland afterwards for additional anti-air protection. However, the USS Helena was buffed to have an extra 300 crew in this update, as Gaijin wanted to keep the premium ship better than the tech tree ones. This means that the Helena is as survivable as a Cleveland, with the same firepower as a Brooklyn, simply for the sake of selling more premiums. Classy, Gaijin. Classy. For modifications, I'd recommend the following order. Toolset, Fire Protection System, 6-inch Mark 34 HC, Rudder Replacement, Shrapnel Protection, 5-inch AAVT Mark 31, Ventilation, Ammo Wetting, and Engine Maintenance. Crew skills are standard fare for cruisers. Leadership, main caliber reload speed, crew interchangeability, fire prevention, and ship control. Thank you for watching. I've got a lot more content on Update 1.99 coming soon, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more.